How's it going, everyone? Welcome to a brand new The Last of Us Part 2 video. Today I have a pretty hefty one that I want to talk about, but before I dwell on the subject of The Last of Us Part 2, I firstly want to say Happy New Year to everyone who is watching on the other side of the air of 2020. I can't wait to explore 2020. We have so many games to look forward to, but let's stay on topic here and let's talk about The Last of Us Part 2. So this is an article provided by WCCF Tech titled The Last of Us Part 2. Co-game director hints at PlayStation 5 complete removal of loading screens for The Last of Us PlayStation 5 port. So as we all know, that both the PlayStation 5 as well as the Xbox Series X consoles will reduce load times considerably, and it seems like some PlayStation 5 games, if not at all, will do away with loading screens entirely. As we know, we got that little snippet from lead architect on the PlayStation 5, Mark Cerny, who spoke about how Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4 loaded significantly faster on the PlayStation 5, which just goes to emphasize and show you the kind of efforts and some of their focus for PlayStation 5. So, on The Last of Us co-director Kurt Marganow commented on load screens, sarcastically asking what load screens people are talking about, hinting at the fact that at least Naughty Dog games will not have them in the future. So Rami Ismail posted on December 18th, I know that was a while ago, but on Twitter, saying that if in our current timeline, it was traditional that game loading screens contained weird development trivia or complaints or whatever inside of game/lore hints, what would be on your loading screens? And then Kurt Marganow replied saying, "What's a loading screen?" So, it's funny because he actually quoted this article and said, "After people so thirsty for next-gen news. My tweet was clearly a flex that after the initial one, Naughty Dog games don't have loading screens, not about PlayStation 5. He said that when you die in Uncharted, the screen fades to black, then immediately comes back up to gameplay. This presented a problem in the world of The Last of Us. The world was way too intense to throw you back in automatically." Continued, "You probably just died in some horribly intense way. To give you a break, we added artificial death scenes, screens with tips where you have to opt back in by pressing X. We aren't loading anything underneath. It's just so you can breathe for a second." And the reason why he said that is because the article went on to talk about some of the capabilities of the PlayStation 5, speaking as to my example about the Marvel screen where it loaded it took 0.8 seconds as opposed to the 8.10 seconds needed to load the game on the PlayStation 4 Pro. They also emphasized some of the PlayStation 5 supposed specs, such as like how earlier last year it's been confirmed that the CPU will be based on the third generation of AMD's Ryzen line. The PlayStation 5 GPU is also going to support ray tracing, which is awesome. And then it kind of dwells on some other stuff regarding Microsoft and PlayStation 5, which has yet to have a formal announcement. So the reason why I want to talk about this is because I don't know how much I believe Kurt Marganow. Like, I'm sure under these loading screens there are processes that do develop the game so that when you press X, you're loaded back into the game in the exact same spot or at least near the checkpoint where you died. I never looked at these loading screens as some form of like break. Like, I don't think anyone really needs a break from Uncharted 4, even if you're playing on Crushing. I'm not trying to excuse Kurt Marganow's reasoning, but I think it is really exciting for this article, in particular the person who wrote it, to kind of hint towards that, hey, The Last of Us Part 2, as well as just in general PlayStation 5 games, might not have these significant loading screens, whether it's a loading screen or a break screen, whatever. According to Kurt Marganow, it doesn't matter. The point of the matter fact is that PlayStation 5 has reportedly, based off of that Marvel Spider-Man snippet, has the capability to load games at a significantly higher rate than previous PlayStation 4 consoles. And this might tie into the speculation of Kurt jokingly saying, "What's a loading screen?" which obviously was a joke, but nonetheless, I think it's definitely reasonable to consider the fact that, hey, during the PlayStation 5 launch, we're not going to have all these significant load times, as we know, as well as the fact that The Last of Us Part 2 might indeed get a port for PlayStation 5, which will showcase some of the PlayStation 5's capabilities of having quicker load times, these ray tracing, just in general, the SSD hard drive, or pardon me, not hard drive, the SSD, solid state drive, or SSD, yeah, a solid state drive, which is to many people significantly better than a hard disk drive because it loads things way quicker. You see that in a lot of PCs, which I'm not too familiar with because I don't have a gaming PC, but it is interesting how, for next gen, that will be hopefully the future, and it will allow for games to load significantly quicker, and it's just a lot more flexible in terms of what gamers are going to want to be able to play. And to have The Last of Us Part 2 get a potential, it's not confirmed, but a potential PlayStation 5 port, and have this lack of loading screens and just a significant quicker load times will indeed make the experience a lot more fulfilling, because I know for a fact that when The Last of Us Part 2 comes out, it's going to have some load times. It has to download the game. We have to install the game. I heard that we're getting 2 discs. If not, I'm pretty sure that was confirmed. So if these are all facts, then we have to consider that, hey, the PlayStation 5 might do well for The Last of Us, and just in general with having the capabilities of PlayStation 5 being able to run games much quicker, and then obviously having The Last of Us have that amazing ray tracing performance on it as well. So overall, it's really exciting information, and I'm beyond excited to see how The Last of Us Part 2 might shape out to come out on the PlayStation 5. I know that we got a remastered version on the PlayStation 4, which was probably Naughty Dog's as well as PlayStation's best decision ever to do, because I think it showed off PlayStation 4's capabilities 110%. It looks beautiful. It runs smooth. 60 frames, I think, multiplayer-wise, but obviously, I believe, from my understanding, that the campaign is still running at 30 frames. But nonetheless, the multiplayer runs smooth. It looks great. It's beautiful. And hopefully, for the PlayStation 5, we do get something similar where The Last of Us Part 2 does get a remaster version or some kind of port, and it demonstrates, showcases the PlayStation 5's capabilities for next gen. But overall, that's it. I will leave the tweet as well as the article in the description below for you to read on your own. But let me know what your thoughts and opinions are regarding The Last of Us Part 2, and having it potentially come out on the PlayStation 5. And then, of course, Kurt Marginow's response by saying, people are so thirsty for next-gen news and whatnot. I mean, how could we not be, right? Like, it's been a while since we've received anything concrete regarding PlayStation 5, other than the fact that we do have a confirmed game for it called Godfall, which I'm really excited for. But overall, let me know your thoughts and comments in the description or in the comment section below. And once again, I want to thank everyone who has subscribed to me recently and has supported my channel as of 2019 and going forward for 2020. I hope that I am able to push out the content as much as possible and just overall have a great time. Of course, if you're new to my channel, I would appreciate it beyond words if you subscribe. And with that being said, thank you a lot for watching. I have been TheStarkz. Peace.